Hey guys, welcome to the 12th episode of The Metal Intent, the show where we talk to your favorite musicians, producers, content creators. We get behind the intent in their music journey. So the 12th episode is a very special one. We have here with us today Scottie Simpson of Alpha Wolf. How are you doing, man?
What's up? How you doing, man?
I'm doing very good. Very, very good. I am a fan of your band. Let's start there.
Beautiful. I'm a fan of your videos. It's cool to, we talk every now and then online, not often, but it's cool to properly meet each other.
Yeah.
Excited to be on here.
Cool. Thank you. That's always the vibe because I end up building these relationships with artists where it's like the way I see it and the way thankfully most artists see it is a way of showing my support and just giving you guys another piece of content and yet another way that people can be consuming your music. And I think that's sick, and it sets me up just to make friends with so many cool people like you.
Yeah, well, I remember the first time I heard of you, this is a funny story, I wanted to tell it.
Yeah.
You were doing the live stream of Bleed For You, I think it was.
Yes.
You're tabbing it and doing all the drums, and I think it was either Lance or Sabian put it in a group chat we have, and we're like, yo, check this fucking dude out. He's like doing programming your whole song on drums and, figuring the whole song out. And we're just like, what the fuck? Why is he doing that?
Why?
And then we watched it and we were like, damn, this guy, he knows his shit. He's not, he knows his shortcuts. He's quick. He can just, I wouldn't say Alpha Wolf is, a technical band at all, but, it's so low, it's kind of hard to hear what we play a lot.
Right.
And I was just watching you and going, it's this note and this note. And it's like, man, half the people in my band don't even know what I'm playing. And we're just 5 seconds in, you're like, yeah, this is the chord, and it was right. Yeah. So it was a cool introductory of how I found out of who you were.
Yeah, nice. I like that. I remember that was the Bleed For You might have been the one of the most fun streams, because only sometimes do I stream the transcription process.
Yeah.
And in that stream was like a record of boys joining the chat. Because I think first Sabian was there, and then you, and then Lance hopped on, and then Rick hopped on.
Yeah.
And man,
yeah.
And I remember to the T, I was using STL Will Putney, and Rick was like, Lance, he's using the fucking thing that you used to track us. I hate that.
Yeah, that cab. I think it was the cab.
Cab 1, dude.
Yeah, cab 1. Dangerous shit.
I turned on cab 1, played some Polaris, and he was like, there it is. There it is. Man, super fun times. Super fun times. I guess it's just one of the good things about the pandemic, where we all interact more digitally.
Yeah. And we were all doing nothing, so we were like, hey, let's watch this guy transcript a song for 6 hours.
Hell yes. Yeah, man. I take advantage of people being at home. If I get to entertain, that's the point. And if we get to give people escape with our music and coming man.
Hey, that's what we do it for.
Hell yeah. So speaking of music, Quiet Place to Die, it's coming up on a year in August.
That's insane.
It is pretty insane because it has this feeling of feeling like both forever ago and yesterday.
Yeah, it feels like that even for me when, the album took ages to come out, obviously, because of COVID and stuff. But, it was written a year before that. Oof. So it was like, these songs are so old and still haven't even played half of them live.
Right.
only played the other half 4 times, and it's just a crazy situation to be in, where you put out an album and then just go sit in your house again.
Yeah, man. I guess that was the atypical part of the release, where you don't get to immediately play the thing live.
Yeah, and every band in the world's in the same position where, that's why no one put out albums, really.
Right.
And the bands that did, I feel like, got more attention because people were hungry for that music. So, it had its upsides and its downsides of putting it out. But yeah, I'm happy. I'm happy we did it how we did it, and it came out when it did, and you know, and then it's just staying relevant going forward because there's no shows to promote your music. So yeah, bit of a win-loss situation there.
It is, but I really agree with you that it's not that there's a correct thing to do or a wrong thing to do, but if you are just trying to stay in the mind of your listeners, releasing an album was the right thing to do. Because when you said that's why a lot of bands didn't release albums, my inner content creator was like, you're gonna be forgotten. You're gonna be forgotten, dude. It's not true, but it is kind of true because you're not taking advantage of your time.
Yeah, I've talked about this situation with a lot of people. How, I mean, everything is so oversaturated in metal technically, but then it's like, well, then no one puts out music for so long. Like, you're forgotten about so quickly. Like, if you're not doing anything, if you're not staying relevant online, and in a pandemic, it's like, it's hard to do that. Like, you got to be like really thinking. If you're not putting out music, like, you got to be putting out some sort of content, you know?
Right.
And there's just so many bands that just dropped off the face of the earth because they can't play shows. And it's like, I mean, that's why we do it, yeah. But I mean, one day the shows will come back, and then you'll try to play a show, and maybe no one will come to the show. Like, maybe no one will care anymore about your band, you know?
Right. That's a great way to put it.
I mean, so that's why we were like, you know, we held off releasing the album for a little bit because we were like, well, we can't do anything. And then, yeah, it got to the stage where we were like, well, we have to put it out, and we have to, you know, still stay relevant because the songs are good. And, you know, the longer you wait on putting songs out, I mean, maybe people won't connect with them the same anymore because it's been, you know, it's dated or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't want to be one of those bands that just like was sitting on an album when people could be listening to it. Like, it's there to listen to. I don't need it in my fucking computer. Like, you guys should have it. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think that makes complete sense. That's smart. So, obviously, one of the bad things is just that you don't get to play it. But I'm glad that you didn't let it define what you did, because the bands that didn't release an album, they were letting the live playing define what they did. And like, if you're not gonna be able to give that up, well, you're just not gonna release music, and other people are gonna be releasing it, and those listeners are gonna be listening to that, and you might be fine with that. But especially it's not that Alpha Wolf is up and coming, but you have audience to gain. You're still in the stage where you have to grow, and I mean, if you guys were on your 10th album, fine, but no.
Yeah, we definitely were in no means of like, we were definitely still in the growth stage even now of like growing the band. So it's like, yeah, it made no sense. Any band similar size to us, for me, it doesn't make any sense like delaying a release or just holding on to it. Like, sure, maybe delay it and like plan a bit more to be like, okay, how are we going to like fill this gap of like not being able to play shows? But yeah, just not putting out music in this day and age, in this time, is like just career suicide to me. You'll just get forgotten about.
Yeah, it's just not the best course of action.
And that's why I like you and your videos a lot, because you're consistent, man. Like, you are like day in and day out, like you stick to a schedule and you hustle it. And I think I've talked to you about that before, is like I see the hustle in what you do, and I guess I kind of relate to it in what Alpha Wolf does, in the sense of like, where we keep busy all the time because, like, you know, it's what we love to do and we want to make a career out of it. And the only way you do that is if, you know, you stay on top of it and you make yourself bigger or better than anyone else, you know?
Yep. Thank you. Yeah.
About the hustle, brother.
The hustle. The hustle is very real, especially in a time where people just consume more and more. Why shouldn't they be consuming you? So you're gonna hustle to be in that attention. And I think that's cool. And I think that's one of the positive parts of this. If the bad part is that you just don't get to play it, the good part is that you find new ways to connect with people. And what do you think was a good part of the release being like that? I'm thinking your Patreon page, for example. I think you got something awesome going there.
Yeah, that was a big, like, jump for us because we were like, man, I don't know if people actually like want this, but we have the time. We have the content to do it. Like big credits to Sabian there. Like he has filmed like everything we've ever done in like since I've been in the band. Like it's always been filmed and it's always just sat in a folder. You know, every now and then we'll use a bit of footage for like a documentary or like a whatever. But it's just like thousands and thousands of photos and video footage. It's just like sitting in a folder and we're like, oh, we're just sitting here. We can't do anything. And like, well, there's a Patreon could work for us. So yeah, we were like, well, if we're going to do it, we're going to do it right. We're going to put a lot of effort into it and a lot of time.
Yes.
And yeah, it went really well. It's still going well. We still like keep up to it. We post, we post 5 days a week in there.
Damn.
Yeah, it's a lot of upkeep for sure. But we were like, I don't want to call any bands out, but I've seen a lot of bands do it and kind of not do it to that potential where they're just like bit of a cash grab and then we'll fuck off. And it's like, well, if this is like going to be an income for us, it's like, it's important that we put a lot of effort into it because anything with Alpha Wolf's name on it it has to be like a top tier thing. It can't just half-ass it, you know? So yeah, it was cool to put like a lot of time and effort into it. And yeah, we still do now. And then just going into the future, it's like, it's even cooler with shows coming back because we got to film heaps of stuff for the shows and then the Patreon got to see it first. Yeah. And I don't know, once, you know, there's new music or there's new merch even or like new videos, it's like, well, they got to see it first. And it's like, well, they're the people that care the most. And it's cool that there's a spot where they can be and be like, get to see everything before the public. Yeah. Yeah. I think it's cool. The way we always like to look at it too is it's like, if my favorite band did this, what would I want to see?
Yeah. Oh, or
yeah,
what would you?
Yeah. But yeah, I would subscribe to it if we were doing stuff like this because I'd be like, fuck yeah, this band's sick. I want to see all this cool stuff that they're doing. So yeah.
Absolutely. That you just said the thing, which is, what does my audience want? Sometimes it's as easy as that, but it's not as easy as that.
Yeah, it's always a learning curve as well. Like we've never done it right. There's, you know, things we've learned along the way that we've changed, but it's like, yeah, I just want to put the effort in because, you know, if people are there and they want to see it, then, you know, we'll give them the spot to go and find all this cool content. So
yeah, man, that makes a lot of sense. And what I like about it is, since now the way people used to support was going to shows, gone, buying music, just gone by the way the times are, which is normal. It's just the way the business has evolved, and you just figure out a different way that people might want to support with their money, like give their hard-earned money to get more Alpha Wolf, and you made it happen.
Yeah, and I think see, obviously, we've researched a lot of bands that have done the Patreon stuff while we're doing it, and like Spirit Box and While She Sleeps are like two big bands that have like killed it with it. Yeah. And it's cool to see bands kind of take that step to like the crowdfunding kind of level, because it's like, it's pretty scary to be like, cool, I want your hard-earned money every month to subscribe to my band. It's like, that's not something that you could do like 10 years ago. So it's like it's a very 2021, 2020 thing.
Yes.
And it's like, it's a big leap to like just go, well, we're going to try it, and hopefully people don't be like, fuck you for trying to take my money. I want that for free.
Right.
But it's like, it's like what you mentioned. It's like, it's like, how else do you make money in a band these days when it's, you know, you can't play shows, you don't really make much money for the music you make, which is why you're in a band. That's a whole different conversation.
Of course, yeah.
So it's like, you know, I'm happy we did it, and it's cool seeing other bands kind of that have the platform to do it, kind of doing it as well. And it's interesting seeing how they do it. I did sub to both Spirit Box and While She Sleeps to be like, oh, let's see how you do things, and maybe we can implement some things that you do sneakily.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, you don't own ideas. No one owns ideas.
Yeah,
right? Sick. And yeah, it's just it's something that I'm very passionate about, which is just more and more being able to go direct to the listener, because that's just valuable. You guys have your label, you guys have your contract, but that doesn't stop you from trying to be the more connected to your audience that you can. And that's always going to be a good thing. And in my opinion, that's the direction that not just the industry, but like the world is going. It's just more direct, more people, less middlemen. And
yeah, I mean, everything's subscription based in this day and age, you know.
Yeah, as well.
It's just normal. So yeah, I'm with you there. I back it.
Makes a lot of sense. Cool, man. And the other way you used to go direct to an audience was shows. And I mean, you guys, you're locking down again, which is no bueno.
Again.
Yeah, here we go. But you guys got a show in, right?
We did. We got four shows in.
Oh, that's a success. Very nice. So I'm wondering, how did it feel to be back?
It was scary for sure. Because the 4 shows, it was all in Victoria. So we're in Melbourne, but the state is Victoria, for anyone that doesn't know what Melbourne is. So we did like 4 kind of regional-ish shows, because we're still, fingers crossed, doing our headline tour next month for the album. Right. So we were like, well, we'll just do a little like regional kind of run, get back into gear, finally get to play some of these new songs. Like, and for people who don't know, our drummer Mitch, he lives in Brisbane, which is like a 24-hour drive away.
Ooh.
So we don't see him ever.
Right.
So we'd never played these songs, the new songs in a room together, like ever. We've never done it. So we had him down for 1 practice, I think it was. I think that was it. I think it was 2.
Yeah.
I think we got 2 days with him to play the songs for the first fucking time, which is crazy. So like, and we had a whole new in-ear rig that we were using that we'd bought through the lockdown. So in-ears for the first time, half the album for the first time.
Yeah.
So it was like a lot, and you know, a year without a show. It's like, cool. Let's keep stacking things on top of each other that can go wrong.
Right. Yeah, I get it.
But it went really well. The first show, I was like shitting my pants. Like, I'm so happy we got to do 4, because the first one I was so nervous that like, because I was like, do I remember how to even play guitar? Do I remember how to be on stage anymore? Like, as well as that, and the in-ear is gonna work. Is like everything else.
Oh my god.
I was like, it was a lot of stress. But the new songs went so well live. Like we opened with Creep, which for like a first song to play back. Yeah, first time we're ever playing it. Was like super cool. We put that on our YouTube channel too.
I saw.
But that was it. That was the first song back, first time ever playing it. So it was super, super special to film all that and to get it all uploaded and stuff. But yeah, overall it was just a good time. It was like super weird to get back into the motions of playing shows and traveling. And I mean, the travel side was fine. It was like we went home every night, and you know, it was like an hour drive to each show. So like it was nothing like that hectic, but just like physically on your own body. Like I forgot, and we were playing for like 50 minutes as well, which we don't usually do. So it was like physically, like after the 4 shows, we were like, man, I need a few days off. Like I am so sore.
Yeah, man, and that makes sense. I mean, it's good that you at least got 4 in, so now you're like warming up to more.
Yeah, now it's just like, I just want to keep going. But as you said, we're back in lockdown. Technically, where Melbourne isn't, where we live, there's like some restrictions still in place and stuff. But Sydney, which is like an 10-hour drive from where we are, is like crazy back in lockdown, and the state borders are shut. You can't go in, you can't go out.
I see.
They're on like, they can't leave their houses and stuff. Like, it's pretty wild over in Sydney now. So that might mess up our tour next month, but I mean, it's weird in Australia how things were going really well for so long, and then it kind of just went backwards, and everyone's like, you don't know if you're playing a show until the day before it anymore. So
right. Yeah.
Pretty crazy here.
It is pretty crazy.
Is there shows happening where you're from?
No.
Nothing.
Nothing at all. I mean, we are, if anything, maybe end of year, but I don't know.
Right.
And the thing is just like, honestly, not having the expectation, because Because if you have the expectation, you just open yourself up for it not to happen. But whatever. Like you said, you guys had a good track record. Like Australia at one point was just in the news for the good example. So and it's cyclical because you see it go from Australia, USA, Europe, Australia, USA, Europe. It's not like it's one always at the same time. So whatever, that makes sense. You guys got to play 4 shows. That's the good thing that we get to
end
talk
of the day. End of the day, we can't be angry about where we are now. At least some bands haven't got to play any at all.
Exactly.
Even from Australia, I think like North Lane, their first show back was we were playing their first show back.
Full Tilt.
Then, the Full Tilt Festival, and there was a side show before it. And then just got canned. So they're like, for us to be from Australia, to get to play a show when there's still bands that haven't. So it's like, we gotta be thankful for some things.
Yeah, man, that is the vibe. I liked how you describe it about how there was so much to go wrong when it was just not having played in a long time. Songs new. The scarier one to me is like new technicals, like new in ear and new back. Oh my god. It was terrifying. And like Lance is our like sound guy, our front of house guy. So cool.
That's he's always been our guy, and he helped build the rig and do everything. So like, as I knew if something went wrong, he would know how to fix it, if anything. So it was like a little relief for me because like besides him, no one else in the band knows what's going on with it. So they'd just look to me and be like, "Hey, fix this," and I'd be like, it was terrifying, but nothing. Only one thing went wrong on one of those shows. Actually, one thing did go wrong.
Okay.
Cool. Mitch just lost I think he lost where he was in a song, or his in-ears broke. Oh, sorry, I think his in-ears broke. That was the thing.
Damn. I mean,
but we played the songs.
You did. And I'm curious if did the new songs rise up to your expectations? Playing them live, people sung them. Was the vibe there? Yeah. They went better than I think all of us thought they would go. It was just so hard because it's like all we've had to judge it off is Spotify numbers and like YouTube stats and and comments.
No one looks and comments and be like, oh cool, people like this song, cool. But then it was like, well, let's playing it live is always different.
Exactly, because you can't see people punching each other in the YouTube comments. Right, how do you know if your song is good if people are not punching each other?
Exactly. So that was cool. Like for us though, like Akudama was like crazy. Like that was like we knew it would go well. Obviously, but it was like on another level.
Damn.
Because we did get to play that song before the pandemic started. We did an Australian tour with Polaris, and we played it. It was unreleased. No one had ever heard it before, so we were like, well, we'll just play it. So people had heard it, but this is like, so we were like, we can finally play this song live when people actually know the song.
Right, because no one was going Akudama Hu before they knew the song. No one did that.
And now they are. Because we were like, I don't know if anyone thinks that part's cool, man. Like, I don't know. And then, we got to play it live, and I was like, okay, that's pretty psycho.
It works. Yeah.
Yeah.
I see, man. Very cool, very cool. So, songs from A Quiet Place to Die. I'd like to get into the album because here at the Metal Intent Show, we like to get behind the intent. It's something that I talk a lot because if you have an intent behind what you're doing, whatever it is, you will achieve better results. You'll get better numbers. You will feel yourself more fulfilled because you're fulfilling a very specific intent that you have. I think it's always very important to not do stuff for the sake of doing it. And in that spirit, when you talk about music, the curiosity for me is always, what made A Quiet Place to Die? Like, what is the difference between, for example, A Quiet Place to Die and Fault, where it's just like, it's not just the collection of our latest songs. We called it something. We gave it an artwork. And the riffs sound a certain way. The songs have a certain vibe. And I'm wondering what that is in your mind.
Well, I mean, for us, like Fault was like a big like question mark for the band. Obviously, we had some new members join and everything, and it was a bit of a sound change, I guess. So when we finally like solidified that, the songs came out, and we got to play them live. Yeah, this was like a big thing for us, was playing them live. We kind of figured out things that worked and things that didn't. And then obviously, that EP was it was a little bit rushed. Like, it was rushed in the sense of like Mitch wasn't involved in any of the writing process on drums, and Lockie's, it was his first time kind of finding his voice. So there's a lot of like ifs and maybes in the band, I guess, at that point. So moving forward, we basically, as soon as, I think before that EP even came out, we'd started writing for the album. We were just writing in general. And for me, it was like, at the beginning, it was like, I'm just going to write songs that I like. I'm not really thinking about album order or like what the album needs. It's like, we're just going to write songs that, you know, hit hard and, you know, represent Alpha Wolf in a way. But then, you know, the more we played live, because we played like 100+ shows, I think, over the next year.
Yeah.
We kind of just figured out things that like worked well live, and, you know, we changed the songs slightly, playing them live. The fault songs. So yeah, we just kind of like found this like sound that like really represented us. And, you know, it's aggressive, it's punchy, it's mean, it's angry. Like, they're like words that I would describe us. You know, the guitar wise, it's never too complicated. Like, I'm not a technical guitarist at all. Like, no part of me is like a lead guitarist, or, you know, we're like a heavy breakdown band basically. But I think we kind of take that to another level. And in saying that, I mean, I don't really know how. Like, we just write songs that we like to listen to, and there was just this weird niche gap, I think, for us that kind of made sense. You know, people always like say like Amur worship stuff, which, you know, it is to a degree. But I feel like we put our own spin on it and made it our own thing.
No, absolutely.
But it all came back down to just songs that we wanted to hear. Like, I want to listen back to my music and fucking jam it louder than anyone else because I love it.
Yes.
And that's where it all stemmed from. Just writing songs that we love. And we somehow did it, and it was dope.
Yeah,
it went really well.
I get it. It always seems to be a common thread. Like, Mike, Jesse, it's always about something you're proud of. It always has to be. Like, and something that you listen back to, and you're like, this for me is very important. Where you listen back to something you did, and you yourself like start to mosh or start to dance, and you're like,
yeah, you got to get into your own music, man. If you listen back to your own song and you're like, that's all right. It's like, no, like, start again, get rid of that, do another song.
Why would you publish something you're not stoked on?
Yeah, and that seems like such a like obvious thing, but I feel like for some bands, some bands, it's like they don't have a vision, and that was something that we had for this record, which I think I don't know if that's why people connect with it so much, but it was just so like clear cut for us what we were doing. Like, there was no doubt or no like question. It just like made sense, you know. So that's like, I think that's maybe why people connect with it, or like that's why it just makes sense for us, because, you know, we just listen to it, we love it. So what else could you do?
So someone else will, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, and I like that method where you play the fault songs live and the previous songs, and you're literally, that's like your feedback session with the audience. Where you're like, oh, you like that? Okay. Oh, you don't like that? Okay. Oh, this is cool. And then you grab the sheet and you do A Quiet Place to Die.
Pretty much. And like, it was cool because we obviously played, we played a lot of new places around the world that we'd never been. A lot of people hadn't even heard of our band before, and, you know, you could look at these people and watch them watch you, and you could see parts that just like connected with people, and you could see in multiple cities that the same parts like worked. And we were like, okay, and even not even like the audience perspective, even just like us on stage, like we'd play some parts and be like, yeah, this part like just straight up sucks. Like, why did we write this? And we'd be like, okay, let's not do that kind of thing again. We could do something similar and make it better, and, you know. And that's what kind of what makes this whole like COVID situation kind of tricky, because like, but that works so well for A Quiet Place to Die, and it's like, well, we haven't got to do that yet. We're sitting here ready to do that part again, but we can't.
Yeah.
So yeah, makes the next stuff kind of interesting, you know.
Exactly. Like you right now, you're writing your new stuff. You don't have that sheet.
We have no
there.
sheet. It's blank.
Yeah, it is blank. That's an interesting proposition. Because I was talking about this with Mike about where what we've had to gauge like reception on. It's been stuff like reaction videos. It's been stuff like comments. It's been stuff like that. And that's not the same as seeing someone punch someone live.
Nah, it's not the same, you know? And it's like, you don't want to go too deep into the comment side of like your band.
You do not?
It's like, it's a dangerous hole to get in. And, you know, there could be like 100 positive comments and there'll be one negative one and you'll be like, fuck you. Like,
right.
It just rubs you the wrong way. And it's like, if anyone says it doesn't, they're fucking lying. Cause like, but it's like, it's like how you respond to that. Like, does that affect you? Cause it definitely shouldn't. But like, in some ways, like some people, if you go too deep, like it'll like, it can affect how you write and affects like, what you do. And it definitely shouldn't. But, yeah, that's where like playing the things live kind of helped, but we can't do that. So plan B.
but you find a way to make it work.
You
and
do,
it's what you said, where you got the comments and you're looking at people talking about something that you wrote. It's different when someone is talking, let alone on the internet, let alone a keyboard, let alone being restricted by 140 characters, let alone so many conditions that we've all been put through these last 18 months, than it is to just play it in front of someone. Yeah. It's just a world of difference.
It is. And, you know, that's why we do it. We do it to play the songs live, but next year, right? We'll get back to it.
Right, yeah. And even if we never did, I think Alpha Wolf is in a place where they would adapt. We see you guys do it. And we all know what bands aren't, what bands would die. No need to say names. But we see bands evolve, and we see bands that don't evolve. It exists.
Yeah, and like that, yeah, it's a good thing you say there. Like, I feel like if for some reason we could never play a show again, like, I think we would still be fine. Like, we'd still put out music and we'd still put out content, and you know, we'd still like be a band, and I think we could still grow without playing shows, which is obviously the big thing is what you play shows for, is you grow as a band and you get to see new audiences and stuff. I think, you know, we'd still be fine. It wouldn't be the same at all, but I feel like for some bands they can't say that at all.
Yep, they wouldn't have a business. It's that thing. At the end of the day, you're trying to sustain your own livelihood with a business that keeps you living. And you guys would, and there's people out there that wouldn't. So
100%.
Good job. That's sick. Yeah, we were talking about reading comments about stuff that you've written, and that made me think about the writing dynamic, which was something I was interested in getting into, because I saw, just like I was telling you, a post by Sabian on Instagram. It was, again, a playthrough you guys put on Patreon of this song called Failure, which I then realized was from a not very early, but earlier album. And Sabian said, "This is the last song I wrote instrumentally." And I was like, oh, whoa. I see. So, yeah. So basically, all riffs are Scottie. Yeah,
basically.
Yeah.
Myself and Mitch mainly. Well, Mitch was a big help on the album, which we didn't. I kind of was touching on before how I said he wasn't super involved with Fault, just by like when he joined the band, the EP was written, and then that was actually the first time we tracked live drums, so he got to have like his own spin on the drums, which was really cool.
Great.
But then like the main shift from Fault to this was he was keen to get involved with the songwriting, so like again, him being from Brisbane was like a bit difficult.
Of course.
Most of the time songs would start in my studio and then I'd send them to the chat and, you know, we'd go back and forth. But there was a few times where we got to have like writing sessions with me and him in the same room, which honestly were like some of the some of the cooler songs on the album, like Akudama, Restricted, Bleed For You.
Great.
I think there's one or two other ones that we, worked on together in the same room. So it was kind of cool to have both those dynamics of like, I feel like when you're in a room together with someone, you act and you do a lot of different stuff, and you go back and forth a lot more.
Yeah.
Whereas if you're in the room by yourself, you could go on your own whole tangent and no one's stopping you. No one's saying, hey, that idea kind of sucks, or this idea is cool. So you just keep going and you just go in this completely different direction. Personally for me, like I kind of like writing by myself. Like that's mainly how I do things.
I relate.
So then, when there's someone else in the room, it's cool to like throw ideas back and forth, and you take things in a complete
change
direction. So that's kind of how it's been for like the past, like since Mitch and Lockie have joined the band. Lyric wise, Lockie kind of mainly handles that, and Sab throws his stuff in a lot as well. And then we'd bring it in here and we'd pre-pro it, and I'd throw my ideas in, and then we'd send it to the guys. It's a pretty collaborative process once we're throwing vocals onto the songs. Like the main hustler of that stuff's definitely Lockie. Like you can definitely hear like his like hip hop and rap influences on our songs. Great. I think like he's massively into that stuff. And
nice.
I like it every now and then. Like I'm pretty particular, but I feel like it comes through a lot in his lyrics and his phrasings and stuff. Are like very, very relevant to like rap and hip hop stuff, which is super cool. But like the main cool thing I think with the album is like we tracked it like in this room. Lance tracked me.
That
me
was
John.
Lance in your room. Okay.
Yeah, that was this room.
Yeah. I see.
And then I tracked all the vocals, which it was a lot of work to put on myself.
Damn, and you engineered all vocals?
Yeah, all the vocals.
That's responsibility.
So, and like I guess I kind of wanted it to be that way, because it was like, well, if it sucks, it's my fault. I don't want to blame someone else,
I love that.
I'm like, I know no one else cares more than me in the end of the day.
Oh my.
So,
I relate to you so much. Yes.
You put it's part of being a musician. You put so much like blame on yourself. So it's like, well, I know I care about this, and I don't know if anyone else does, so I'm going to do it. But the main cool thing about that was we got to spend a lot of time on the vocals and the phrasings, and like we just redid things, and we could do like 2 days a week, and then you could go home and work on some stuff and come back. So it was like a really good way to do it, but it was pretty stressful. But I mean, when isn't an album
when
stressful?
isn't it?
It's not good if it isn't.
Right. Yeah. I mean, pressure creates diamonds. That's what they say.
That's it.
Hell yeah.
That's it.
You guys sound like a team. I love hearing that description, because you have writing. You're great at engineering. Sabian helps the lyrics. He films, designs every single thing. That's huge that you guys in the same band. I have that with my own.
Me and Sabian manage the band as well. We don't have a manager, so
boom.
There's a lot. We do a lot.
Yeah. Of course, you guys do.
Like I said before, like we keep it in house because we care more than anyone else can care about our band.
Yeah,
it's our thing. So like, if you want to take it off me, mate, prove you can do it better. Like that's kind of how I look at it.
That's the only right way to look at it, because some people will instantly offload that just because bands are supposed to have a manager, or
nah,
bruh. I mean, here's the thing: if you actually, because goddamn, that's me personally. That it's just scary to me that I would think about that, at least at the level that you're doing. Like if it's trying to book a show here, fine. I'd actually like the experience to know what that's like. But as soon as you get into like scheduling tours, it's like just the thought of it for me. It's like I'm a child. Someone's explaining to me how the sun and the planets work. Like I do not relate. I don't.
Yeah, we still have booking agents. I'll give them that.
Right.
We're self-managed, but we have booking agents because that part you are correct. I have no skills in booking a show or a tour.
Yeah.
We have an Australian guy, a USA guy, and a Europe guy. So
Okay.
We have people like look after us all over the world, which is like
Great.
100%. We couldn't do it without
necessary.
them.
Yes.
100% necessary. But just like the managing side is
Managing,
like
you're not gonna talk to our band through someone else. You're gonna talk to us.
Exactly. And
That one I relate.
Yeah. If something's going on, like I need to know what's happening. And if even like with booking agents, like I feel bad for them. I'm always in their emails like, hey, what's up with this? What's up with this?
Hey,
like, I need to know everything going on. I need to micromanage the shit out of you.
No, yeah, man. People say micromanage in a negative way. I often see it in a positive light.
I just want to know what's going on, man. You know,
Right, this is my business.
right?
Yeah, man, that makes a lot of sense, and I'm glad it is the way it is. Because I relate to that. I relate to just being, just needing to know because you care, and I'm wondering if historically, how in terms of band lineup, because there's been a few changes. Like, are you originally in the band from the start? Because I don't know the little history. If you give me the 5-minute just for context.
Yeah. I wasn't originally in the band. The band started in Tasmania. I don't know if you do you know where that is?
That's like the island that has dogs that are mean.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's the little island underneath Australia.
Yeah.
The band was started there with Sabian and John, and a few other guys that aren't in the band anymore. So they started there in a small town called Burnie, where like no one lives. I've never been there. I'm playing the band.
Sounds like it, yeah.
So yeah, the band, they got a bit of recognition there, like not heaps. They used to like travel back and forth to Australia until eventually they moved to Melbourne, where we live now. A few lineup changes then, and a few new guys came in. We put out the album Mono, and then a few more lineup changes happened, and basically we're at where we are now. So for me, I joined the band before the first album came out. When John was actually on vocals, our bassist. He was the vocalist for the first few releases.
That's interesting.
And I joined on bass, of all things, because I'll throw you a little story right now. I don't know if we've talked about it online, maybe. But me and Sabian were doing a Parkway Drive cover set for a club.
Sick.
Which was dope. Like we went off. I'd never met the dude before, and he was like, he was telling the bass. I was playing guitar. He was playing guitar. He was telling the bassist in the cover band that he needed a fill-in bassist for a tour because their bassist sucks and he couldn't get work off. He lived in Tasmania, and the bassist was like, I can't take work off either. And I was just like, I'll do it.
Right.
It's like, I'll play bass. I don't care. Sounds fun. And he just looked at me. And he'd never met me before. It was the first time we'd ever met. And he was just like, yeah. All right. And then, from then I did the tour and I ended up joining the band. And this was in 2015, so 6 years ago.
I see.
So a few lineup changes since then. But when did the EP come out? 2017? Everything's stayed the same since then.
I see.
Going strong. That's little backstory for everyone.
Cool. I get it. Awesome. And then you just get more and more involved. I like it.
Yeah, I just took over, didn't I? I really did.
I came in and no, that's me.
That ain't happening.
No, right. It seems like it has worked out at the end of the day.
Yeah, I mean, I just, the more involved I got, the more I cared, I guess. And, if I'm going to put my time and effort into something, like, it's back to that. If I'm doing it, I know no one else can do it better than me. So, we just stuck at that for years, and we toured a lot, played a lot of shows, a lot of shows to no one, and then slowly picked up, and here we are today, not playing shows.
Right? Yeah, man, but making it work still. Hell yes, I like this. Okay, let's nerd out. Let's talk guitar. Do you like guitar?
I like guitars. I'm honestly not much of a guitar nerd, honestly. I love guitars. I love my guitars. But nerding out over like pieces of wood or like, I don't know, weird shit like that. I'm like, man, if it makes noise, cool.
I kind of relate. Like, I have here a beautiful custom instrument. And then when it comes to something that so many people nerd about, which is pickups, I told the builder, just put the latest bare knuckle. Let me try anything.
Yeah.
So I super relate. Like, I super
matters.
relate.
It definitely matters.
Of course.
But like, I just don't care enough at the end of the day.
Yes.
I have things I use that I can't do what I do without them, for sure.
Right.
But then there's like, there's a certain level of like, give me a $500 guitar and I'll put 2 things in it and they'll sound great.
Right, man. Just slap an Evertune on and you're banging.
Slap an Evertune, slap a Fishman in the bridge.
And there it is.
We're laughing. I can play off full for that.
I can riff. Yeah, man, that makes a lot of sense. There's something I am curious about, which is, and Lance actually said this on the live stream. I learned Akudama on the 7-string drop G, but Akudama is in the 6-string drop G. And
that's it.
How does this work? Because if I'm correct in my ideas, when Sabian wrote, it was 7. But when you write, it's the 6-string drop G.
Yeah, it's literally an argument every time. That's how it works.
I mean, you guys, all that you guys have to do is just play with the 3rd string to get it right.
Yeah, and he just doesn't change the string. Well, I do. So and I write. He doesn't write the songs. So it's like, well, I mean, that's you can keep playing and you're tuning. That's fine. You can just figure it out once I tab it. Basically,
yes,
that's how it works.
Okay,
which is fine. I mean, like I swap between 7 and 6 strings, but I tune my 7-string like a 6-string, like in the 6-string tuning. Which is funny now because when we both got new guitars, I got a new 7 and he got a new 6-string. So now I play a 7 as my main and he plays a 6 as his main. And then when we swap to the other tuning, I go to my 6-string and he goes to his 7-string. So people look at it and they're like, how the fuck are you guys playing the same thing? But end of the day, they're tuned. We play predominantly the top 3 strings.
Right.
They're tuned the same. I just like the look of my 7-string, which is why I got it. And he liked the look of a 6-string.
So that's why you got it.
People look a bit too deep into 6 and 7.
That's right.
It doesn't actually matter.
I mean, it doesn't, because you guys are, it's just like you said, you guys are not actively playing leads that depend on the tuning. The leads that you guys are playing do not depend on tuning. If you're hitting something in the fret, just like a dissonant chord, it just shifts 1 fret up or 1 fret down. Just
that's it. And we don't play heaps of leads, and when we do, it's like, well, if Sab wants to play a lead, he can move his finger a fret.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
It's not too deep. Where people, I've seen some comments where people are just losing their mind.
What's the tuning? He has a 6.
Yeah.
He has a 7.
I mean, what is crazy is that like we can play in these tunings with a 6-string. Like my 6-string is set up for the drop G with a low F, which for a 6-string you'd go, that's pretty psycho, but it's a baritone, 27-inch, so it can do that for 1. And number 2, it's got an Evertune bridge, so it can do anything.
It can do anything, man.
Yeah, I can't talk enough. I will no doubt about Evertunes because we can't play without them. As soon as we started using them, it was like a total game changer for what we do.
Absolutely, say goodbye to the fucking bam.
Yeah, and I just like I hear things tracked without an Evertune, and I can hear it. Like I can hear it straight away. You can hear the bows, you can hear the small little changes, and it's like, man, if I'm engineering a record, like I need an Evertune. If you don't have one, you're using my guitar, basically.
Right. Yeah, man. If you're playing like breakdowns and riffs and power chords, yes.
Yeah. Leads and stuff, 100% you can get away without one. But yeah, main rhythms, heavy stuff, it's like, man, it's such a time saver in the studio that like it's a no-brainer. Like you'd say, like we tracked rhythms for Quiet Place Today in 3-4 days, maybe.
That's crazy.
Like you couldn't do that. And we'd change strings the start of the day, check tune, and then you'd just go. Like you wouldn't check again. Yeah, man. Because you don't need to.
It even makes you track better because you're just focusing on playing.
Yeah, nothing about tuning, which is crazy. And what the cool thing, Rod in Pieces off the album, that's drop G with a low D sharp. We tracked that on my 6-string.
wait, low D sharp. Whoa.
Low D sharp.
So you get D sharp D?
Yeah,
bruh. That's cool. Sick. Yeah.
Yeah. So then like a 0-1 chord is an octave. So you can just do octaves everywhere.
And a chog is a dissonant major seventh. Oh,
exactly.
Damn.
So I don't remember why I did that. I think I just got bored one day.
And you just
writing a song. I just kept going, and then I was like, "Oh, this is a dissonant note as a chug. This is cool."
Yeah.
And then it's like, it's a dissonant note, and then you can do octaves everywhere, and it's like, cool. Let's do this. And then we tracked it on my 6-string.
And it's a song, right? Yeah, because it doesn't matter the amount of strings; it matters the scale length and how much of a bridge cable you got on there. That's all that matters.
I mean, I use the same string in G as I do for that. It's a 74 gauge, so it's pretty heavy.
Same here, 74.
There you go. But it does the job, and that's credit to the Evertune bridge. Like, you cannot do that without those bridges. And if you do, it doesn't sound good.
But no.
If it does sound good, I need some proof, because
if it does sound good, and it's something which is important, which is, for some people, they do want the rawness, they do want the going out of tune sometimes for a band, for an aesthetic where you don't care. It's just going bow, bow, and the drums are just, it's all cymbal, it's hi-hat feet the band. We all know that kind of thing. But
exactly. But man, for what we do, like we 100% need them. And like, it's funny, when we played live, we played that song for the first time. We don't have 3 guitars because we're not a big band that can afford that. So I had to tune my F guitar down to D sharp for that, like just with the tuning peg.
Yep.
And within the song, it went out a semitone. And it's like, man, this is what normal people have to deal with.
Right. I mean, normal people don't tune it to D sharp. But that's
okay. That's true. That's true.
Normal people have their Fender in standard, but
exactly. And I just hear an octave lower, just fucking
right. What are you gonna do, man? We want to write sick riffs.
That's it.
And I'm also wondering, because we've discussed this. You say it openly all the time. Not a technical guitarist. We're looking for a reaction. We're looking for moshing. We're looking for headbanging. And and again, that's intent. That's all that I talk about. It's just that you know what it is. Like, you wouldn't put a tapping run in the middle of your riff just because it's fashionable. You have this intent. You have this goal. And I'm wondering, what makes you go like, yeah, that's a sick riff? Like
that's a hard one, man. Like, that happens.
It is.
Because it's like, when it happens, like, it's good. And like,
but what is it?
Like, for me, when I'm writing, it might tend more to my writing style of like, I will usually, I'll like pick a tempo and like mess around with some stuff. Usually I'll put drums in first, like a general like cymbals 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I'll pick a snare vibe. Is it like a 1 and 2 snare, or is it like every 3? Is it like an every 1? Like, depending on the tempo. I'll put no kicks in, or I'll like mash out a kick pattern, and then I'll just hit play and I'll just start doing things.
Interesting.
I'll just start riffing, and I'll just be like, I'll keep going until something starts to sound cool. I'll stop it, and I'll be like, all right, what am I actually playing? Can I like spice up some parts? Can I do some things different? Can I like add some cool things? And then, I'll go from there and put the riff in, match the kicks a bit more to the riff, put some bass in. And it goes from there. But I guess for me, it's mainly jamming to drums really loud through my monitors. And it's like, I guess that's kind of like a replicating a live thing in a sense. The more I think about it, like, the feeling of like a song live is like nothing else, right? You want to feel the power of a PA. So like, I guess I kind of replicate that in my house, thinking I'm really cool, writing a riff that is hopefully really cool, right?
Right.
And I just take it from there. And a big thing for us and a big thing for me is like structuring a song and like the structure of a song.
Yeah.
So like, I find it so hard to not write a structured song, because it's just what I like to listen to. Like, some bands can like just write like riff salad and it's just riff after riff after riff. But like, I need like a repeating motif, or I need like a chorus. I need like,
something.
I want to feel a structure in a song. And that's something I focus on like a lot when writing. So But yeah, once you have the first riff down, you just like figure out the structure and kind of keep refining it.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get an alpha song.
I see. That's interesting, and I like that you say that there's a focus on structure. Because if other people say, "Oh, I focus a lot on structure," I'd be like, "Oh, okay, so you do verse, chorus, bridge, chorus." But no, because I was literally thinking about examples, and I was thinking about a song like Sub-Zero, for example. Sub-Zero only has one repeating part. It's the rest of it actually is just multiple different breakdowns. But there's one repeating part. It's not even a chorus, but there is. And
it's just a hook. It's a hook, and that's important. It's very important.
Like you still feel that the song is structured.
Yeah.
I was
to
thinking,
be fair, that song Out of Everything is very weirdly structured.
Exactly. That's why it came to my head. It even ends with the build-up, which it's just so funny.
Yeah. I mean, I guess the thing as well is like a lot of people. I mean, for me, like I listen to like a lot of music as well. Like I love listening to new things. I try and listen to anything, but like I try and listen to like a lot of obviously non-metal stuff, which I feel like a lot of people in metal bands say these days.
Right.
But it's more so to just like get those ideas. Like go listen to a pop song and listen to the structure, and maybe it'll have like a thing that'll, if you try and think of that in a metal song, it'd be like, oh, I could try like that kind of thing into this kind of thing.
Right.
And like a structure doesn't have to be, like you said, intro, verse, chorus. Like you can have a structure in a song and not have it boring. Like it doesn't have to be. But for me, a song needs to be structured for me to enjoy it. Like if you listen, I love some pop music, like some stuff on the new Justin Bieber album is sick. Like Black Bear, like I love a lot of like the like more emo kind of hip hop stuff these days, like Nothing Nowhere, and it's cool to like listen to that type of music, and you can take stuff from that and implement it back into heavy stuff.
Absolutely. I like that. That makes a lot of sense. You're touching on what you're listening to, and I'm interested if you have any like big inspirations where you say, like this influenced me a lot. You guys, one is easy. Like you said, you're doing a Parkway Drive cover band. Like that's gotta mean something.
I mean, for me, like I don't really listen to Parkway as much anymore. Like when I was like 16, like it was like my bread and butter. Like I would go to my friend's house and we would play Parkway Drive together. I would go to every Parkway Drive show. It was like a religion. If you were like an Australian metalcore guy, like you didn't like Parkway Drive, you'd be like,
you don't exist.
Like, what's wrong with you? You know. Nowadays, like the music, I do like when they put an album out, I'll listen to it. If they're playing a show, I'll try go see it because they're like, insane how big they are now. But for me, it's like another thing is like their work ethic as a band is inspiring as an Australian to be like, if you think you can't do something, this band is from Byron Bay, as they're a surf band and they're one of the biggest metal bands in the world now. Like if that's not a big enough sign that like any band can do it, like what are you looking for, Yeah. So I definitely look to that band for like inspiration in that sense now. Just that, you can achieve anything, right?
Great.
But like musically, I mean, Josh Travis is like obviously a big influence on me.
Yeah, I mean, not to interrupt, but the other day I just saw like him on Twitch where he just plays the two Amur albums back to back.
I did see that.
Just
actually.
like looking at the chat and talking to the chat while he plays two albums front to back.
I couldn't even play a whole album back to front. No fucking way. I need to practice, man.
Man,
so like,
I get it.
I guess a lot of people see that in our music, and like I'm not much of like a guitarist like sweater. Like I don't really have guitarists that I get into, but like, he's obviously one. You can hear it in our music. He writes heavy stuff like no one else. That's interesting and structured. You can hear the structures.
That's right.
Talking about Structures, another good band that I'm very into. I love Structures.
Oh, Structures. I get it.
I love, they're A Life Through a Window, and the latest EP that just came out, super cool stuff.
Gotta go here.
I don't listen to heaps of like other heavy stuff. Let me, Spirit Box, I gotta give them a shout out.
Let's gas each other up.
Gas each other up, yeah. they're a band that's like just stands out above the pack, and it's like, again, like I was saying, with like this good structured songs. They're not, I wouldn't say they're anything like crazy unique, but like I don't think it has to be. I think with like the dynamic of their music, and Courtney, their vocalist, is just like, she can do anything and he can write anything, and it just works. And it's not like anything groundbreaking, but it doesn't need to be. It's just good songs.
I love that. Yeah.
Let me scroll my Spotify. Hey, the new Turnstile EP, I've been loving that. I'm not super into like hardcore and stuff, but that thing just like hit the spot. Love
nice.
That.
Yeah.
Billie Eilish, Nothing Nowhere. City Guns I've been listening to a lot actually recently.
Cool.
Yeah, not much heavy stuff in here.
Yeah,
Sorry.
That's important, because I mean, if you don't have that checklist of what the audience is thinking, at least you're building your own repertoire of different stuff to try by listening to other people's stuff, which is also a way to do it.
That's a big thing for me is, listening to a lot of different styles, and then, bringing it back into what we do and thinking about how we can do things differently. Because, like, I feel like getting onto writing, more and more material, it's like, the more we do this kind of stuff, it's like you don't want to write the same song over and over again.
Yeah.
And I feel like in a heavy band, that's kind of easy to do in a sense. It's like this, I like a lot of bands can get like 4 or 5 albums in and be like, we've just written the same album like every time. I don't want to do that. And I know I play in a predominantly heavy breakdown band. So it's like, well, you got to look to new ways you can do things. And, songs like Don't Ask and Bleed For You on the last album was like things that we tried that we were like, people might hate this, but if there were 2 more breakdown songs, that's a whole album of breakdowns, and I don't want that, no one, I don't think, and maybe other people do, but I don't want that. So it's, it just like broadens your horizon to think about the next album and, 3 after that, what are you going to be doing,
Absolutely.
I don't want to think about that, actually. That's kind of scary.
but it's important, and you will think about that. Because if I see I relate to the way your mind is working when you're thinking about this stuff, and it will come to mind like, damn, what do I want this to look like few years from now? And I'm like, did I write the same album all the time? And the answer is probably going to be no, just because you had the intent not to. That's the whole.
Yeah.
That's
then there's like, there's no, like, a lot of bands do it, I guess, and it's no harm to them. If they like the album, then sick. It's just, as like a songwriter and like a musician, it's like your integrity, I feel like, for me, is the most important part. And I got to know I'm writing things that I like, and I got to know I'm pushing the boundaries in some way,
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm not a technical guitarist, hell nah, but I'll find new ways to write a breakdown.
Yes, that just makes a lot of sense. It just makes a lot of sense. Just fucking put different noises over it.
Right?
Yeah, man. Yeah, I like this. But it is a good question, which is like, if you're Scottie, and there's Alpha Wolf, and you're 5 years back and you're listening to this podcast, and you're like, what's one thing that you're like, like I stuck to it. Like, this band now did this, or this band now did this. Like, any goal or is there anything that you're looking at, like, kind of big scale?
I guess it's just like make sure I'm working hard, I think, is the main thing. I'd hate to look back in 5 years and go, damn, I wish I tried harder at this, or I wish we did more at the time of this, or I wish I wasn't so lazy. And this times everyone's lazy and everyone needs a break. But I just want to look back and be like, I did everything I could to make this what it is. Whether that's, songs or like just anything the band does, I just want to look back and go, we did our best for that, even if it didn't work, or, just be proud of what you do, which is like, it's a hard thing when you're in it to like look back and be like, oh, look how much cool shit we've done. And, you're always looking forward. And I'm sure you're the same in that sense. You're always looking towards the next thing you're doing, and you're never like taking a step back and going, damn, we've made something cool, or, we look at all the cool shit we've got to do. It's always like what's coming next. And I think that's important to be in there. But then, when you mention 5 years later, it's like, well, I hope I look back and go, cool, you did good. Keep going.
Yeah. It is about striking a balance of like being so dead on, just focusing on the future, and also being able to, Gary Vee says, to being able to smell the roses a little bit. Because if you, at the end of the day, if you're doing all of this and you're not looking back at the fruits of your labor with happiness and pleasure, you're also doing yourself a disservice, because just focusing on what's happening now and what you can do to make the future better is how you get to any point that you're happy with. But again, it's a point that you're happy with. So if you're not enjoying that, we always have to strike some balance of enjoying.
Gotta enjoy the journey in some sense, you know?
Yeah, right. There you go with the fucking, it's not the destination, bro. But it ends up being true. It ends up being true.
It does.
But I think people like you and I think sometimes we don't like to hear it, because we're like, I have this destination, bro.
I am busy. I am working.
But at the end of the day, it just comes back, because being busy and working is the journey. You actually are enjoying the journey.
Right?
Hell yeah.
We're talking life shit here.
Hell yeah. Yeah. It's just a lot of lessons from building anything related to music. I always find they carry to the rest of our lives.
It's not easy, man. What we do, it's not easy to get somewhere with it. A lot of people are doing the same shit.
Exactly, man. Yeah. I have this final thought I'd like to run with you, or to run through you. I like to think of myself as a very positive guy, and I always like to give off positive vibes. Make people think about the ways stuff can go well. Make people think about about the things they can do, about stuff like that. It's always on my mind. And we play in a genre where themes are often negative. It's if you ask someone what metal is about being angry, and metal is about people who listen to metal are angry people that need to release those emotions, and that public perception is not wrong. But then, because it's like, if we go read A Quiet Place to Die lyrics, you Google that and you go, those themes, these are very, very serious themes. It's stuff that we want to express, that we want to help our audience express if they've ever gone through stuff like that. But, and what I'm always curious as an instrumentalist, is that we'll be playing those riffs with a fucking smile. Like, the vocalist will be talking about the fear he has of going out of this earth alone with no one else, and we'd be like, yeah, dude. Fuck yeah.
It's true. It's true, man.
And I'm curious, what do you think about this duality of like a very helping people express bad stuff and getting it out of their system, but we just enjoy it so much. Like
it's when you put it into words, it's like such a weird thing to explain.
It is,
because it's like, well, I'm really angry in this song, and I'll play this breakdown live, and I see someone else bashing someone else. I'm smiling on stage, going, "Sick!"
Exactly.
That's mad, you know. But I guess that's like why the metal community is what it is. It's like a tight knit thing, because I don't think everyone gets that. And I don't know how I did. I don't know how you did, but it's like, well, we're here. We both get it, you know. It's like, I guess it's like the positives and negatives of just life in general is like just expressed through heavy music. It's like, you know, there's good parts and there's bad parts, and I feel like writing about lyrically like negative or like depressing parts of your life is like super honest, and it's like something people connect with. And it's like when I listen to music, if it's like, you know, if it's it's like when you're sad, you put a sad song on. Why do you do that? It just makes you feel worse, but you do it.
Right.
Because it's relatable. If that's how you, like, you know, you can connect with that. And I guess that's what heavy music is. People just like, if there's this connection there, that you can go and scream these super sad words in a crowd of people with a smile on your face. Yeah. But it's not about smiling then, you know. It's about all like the negative stuff of your life, and you just let it out at a show. And I think, you know, when you grow up going to shows, being the person in the crowd, it's like, I mean, nothing's changed. I'm just the guy on the stage now. Sometimes I'm still the guy in the crowd. Yeah, I don't know. It's a weird one when you try and put it into words.
It is. That ends up being one of the conclusions I get to, which is like putting into words. It's part of the problem with trying to express it, is that the one reason we do music and we like music is because it's not words. Like words and language has so many limitations of stuff that we want to express. When we want to express emotion, when we want to express feelings, there's limitations to what you can say with words. And so we do music.
Yeah.
So
it's what we do. Exactly. I can write a sad riff on a guitar. I can write some sad chords, and I don't know. I think that's cool. I like doing that. People hear it and then they get sad. Maybe that's not very nice, but we do it.
Yeah, and the thing is that you don't know, because it might be nice, because people might have needed to feel sad then.
Yeah, and that's important, man. Like I like listening to sad music.
Yeah.
Sometimes you need it. So to be someone that can contribute to that, and I'll keep writing more sad songs and then put some breakdowns in it, because that's what we do.
Hell yeah, man. You'll get both ends. I like it, man. Well, thank you so much for coming on. And I usually say, where do you want people to find you? Just go listen to Alpha Wolf.
You know it.
Just go listen to Alpha Wolf. And if you're a big fan and you weren't aware, the Patreon page we talked about here today. And if there's big fans that aren't aware of that, I mean, videos. I mean, listening to songs, watching you guys play the songs, which is cool. The cover contest, I think that is super, super nice.
We do heaps of stuff in there. Heaps of stuff.
So yeah, there's one good thing to plug. And yeah, man, thank you so much for coming on.
Hey, anytime, man. This was fun.